you're watching. But thanks for joining me. Today's practice is about calming energy. This could suit you if you just have low energy and you want to move more gently, or you've woken up or you've found yourself in a state where you just feel unsettled. This is one way of trying to kind of get that energy to shift. And in all fairness, sometimes you just have to go for a run. But if that's not something you want to do, this is also one way of settling the energy. So we'll begin in any comfortable seated position. The official clock starts, and you can have your eyes soft or closed. Now, I will make a note that if your energy is anxious because of thoughts going on inside your head, you might choose to keep the gaze soft and focusing on something outside of you. And in fact, really study it like you're looking at a chair. And I want you to see the colors and the shape and the shine or the matte finish of the chair. And that could give you something outside of you to focus on. On the other hand, for some people, it can be very calming to turn inwards. And only you will know which is the right answer today. So whichever version you choose, draw your attention to that completely, whether that is something within you, such as the way your breath is moving your body, or it is something outside of you. It could be a plant, a chair, just anything, and completely absorb yourself in that attention. And we'll let the movement be very gentle and quiet today as well. And this practice, my hope is it's something you come back to again and again as a way of it then being part of a familiar practice. And then the poses are familiar and you know what to expect. And that can really add to the soothing quality. Now, I'm resting one hand on my heart and one hand on my knee. You can choose what works for you. You could do both hands on your knees. You could exactly what I'm doing. I'm choosing to turn my attention inwards, which is why having a hand on my heart means that when I breathe, I can feel my hand move as well. And there's also something quite comforting about the warmth of the hand being on the chest. Whatever version you're doing, just staying here for a few more breaths. We'll be moving more slowly today. We'll be staying in poses a little bit longer than a vinyasa would normally. I always think of Travis Elliott's "No hurries, no worries." That's what we're aiming for in this pacing today. Just be aware of what's going on. Okay, taking your attention back to the practice. We'll start on our backs, lying down, and take your right leg up in the air. And if it's okay, you can interlace the fingers behind the hamstring. Left leg is going to be straight and active. And as you reach up through the right heel, you can choose to point and flex the foot. We're bringing a little bit of attention and awakeness to the back of that leg. You might also find you want to draw a circle with the foot and then draw a circle the other way, but then don't forget the leg on the ground. I just did. Remember to keep it active. Keep pressing the top of that left thigh down. And then release, and we'll change sides. So now the right leg streams long and the left leg goes up, and you'll interlace the fingers behind that thigh. And it's the same situation here. So pointing and flexing, or really it's whatever feels good, but don't forget the leg on the ground. Keep streaming it active. And then release the leg. Reach the arms long. Reach the legs long. Another pose on our back. Draw the right knee in. Bring it towards the chest and then use your left hand to take it across. So a little reclined twist. Now as you're twisting over to the left, you'll reach your right arm out behind you. Allow the head to go whatever direction feels good. Maybe the gaze follows your thumb, or maybe It doesn't. Feel the upper arm stretching, feel the hips stretching. Notice the rotation of your spine, and then come back to center. Arms reach long, legs reach long. Maybe there's obstacles in the way, and that's fine. This is all part of a home practice. Hug the left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze, and then take it across the body. Guide the right leg across, left arm extends behind you, and again, head might follow the spine, or maybe the head continues in a twist. Breathing, either choosing to turn your attention completely inwards and fixating on the movement of your breath, or if it's more comforting to you, focus on something outside of yourself, admire the fractal nature of the leaves, the ripples and the colors as the light hits it. And then coming back to the middle. Now both knees come into the chest, and this is a little bit of a rolling along the length of the spine, and I'm going to go super slowly. We're not athletic today, we're just taking it gently. You can roll along the spine faster if you'd like. In fact, I look forward to seeing some replays as people have been tagging me in their time lapses. We'll make it to hands and knees. Any way that you want to, because I'm not watching. It does not need to be fancy. So once we're in hands and knees, we're going to rock forwards a little bit and rock back. Think of a figure of 8 shape and move the shoulders into a figure of 8, or move the hips into a figure of 8 shape. You're sort of adding a bit of weight to your knees, and then you're putting more weight in the hands. So it's just a gentle way of warming up the hands and the spine. And from here, slide the knees forwards. Come into a child's pose, so the hips go back. Some people like to prop their forehead up. If your hips are high, I recommend trying that. And if it's comfortable for you, you can have your arms forwards and the forehead on the ground. Realize that not everybody's body will allow them to fold this compactly. And so if you're in this pose and it's not feeling great, I want you to do a version where maybe you put a pillow under your head, or you modify it in some way. And that way you find your version of child's pose. One of the reasons I've put child's pose in this sequence is because the folding forwards is a very comfortable, calming kind of shape. It's like being a snail inside a shell. And the compact nature, the accordion fold of the legs, is very, very nice. You can feel your back ribs move as you breathe in this pose. And you can have a bit of time here to just slow the breath down. Last round of breath. Re-extend the arms. Now from child's pose, we come into hands and knees. We then come into down dog. We've got a little bit of a gentle flow here. So from down dog, we come into plank. Lower the knees to the ground. Slide the hips back. Child's pose. Then child's pose. Press to your hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Down dog. Ripple forward into plank position. And then continue this. We'll just do it 2 more times. Hips go back. Child's pose. Return to hands and knees. Sort of passing through hands and knees as you go en route to a downward facing dog, and you ripple forward into plank. And the knees lower down and you come back down. Last one. Inhale into hands and knees. Exhale into down dog. Inhale, ripple forward into plank. And we'll just finish on hands and knees. From here, right arm comes up in the air. Reach it up and then thread the needle. Head, neck, and shoulders to the ground. Now this time, normally I do a more relaxed version, but today I want you to reach the arm as far across as you can and really work on a spinal rotation. So we're really turning the head and maybe even pressing into the fingertips of the left hand. As you turn the chest, I want you to feel the spine rotating. You can press the back of that right arm into the ground. Come back onto your fingertips. Left arm reaches up, same, but the other side. Thread the arm underneath. Again, come onto the fingertips of the right hand. Rotate the spine as best you can. Oh, sometimes there's a wonderful, wonderful stretch underneath the shoulder blade. Breathing in. On the exhale, coming back up. From here, downward facing dog, and we'll take the right leg up in the air. You'll bend the knee and yawn the hips open to the right, and then come into a pigeon pose. So the right knee comes forward, the right shin is diagonal underneath you. Lift up onto the fingertips, level out the hips, and then come down to your forearms. And again, propping up the head can be really delicious in this pose. You might stack fists, you might make a pillow with your hands. Find a height that feels good. And if you prefer to keep the head elevated, and again, to keep the attention outside of yourself, maybe come to your forearms and just look forwards. And when you do that, you're taking in the view. You are receiving whatever you're looking at. It could be the floorboards, it could be carpet, there might be a window, there might be a sofa. You just look at it and really see it as though you're looking for the first time. From here, hands come back to the front corners of the mat. You'll roll to your right thigh. Your left leg will come around to the front, and you'll step your right foot to the mat. You'll prop yourself up with your right fingertips, and then you'll reach up with the left arm. You've got some options here. You can hug the knee into the chest and turn to your right. Or if you've got a bit more of a twist going on now, that rotation, you could take the elbow and hook it to the outside of that knee. Your knee might begin to cross over the midsection, that's fine. And as you begin to do that, you'll allow the head to follow the turning of the chest. You might even begin to roll your right collarbone open more. And as you roll that collarbone open, you'll feel a little bit more rotation happen. But it's not about forcing, it's more about just seeing what's possible. Maybe approach it with a curiosity instead of an ambition. Come back to the front. Make your way to downward facing dog any way that you like. It need not be glamorous. This is the joy of the home practice. Left leg goes up, reaching it up. Bend your knee, yawn the hips open. Bring the knee forwards, left shin diagonal. Right leg tracks back. Come onto the fingertips, lift up in the chest. Exhale, lowering down, propping your head up in some way. I do love the fist stacking, but that could just be it works for my body. Check the hips. Are they level? Are you leaning too far to the left thigh? Are you leaning too far onto the right thigh? You want a sort of a midpoint between the two of them. One way that you can tell is that your right kneecap should be directly down on the yoga mat and not rolling out to either side. And then notice your breath. Just come back to that. And see if you can slow it down just a smidge. Find a rhythm that feels really calm and nurturing to you. Return the hands to the front corners of the mat. Lean to your left thigh. The right leg comes around to the front, and you'll step your left foot to the mat. Now, I always make a bit of a space between my foot and my thigh. Right toes pointing up to the ceiling. Prop yourself up on your left fingertips. Inhale, extend long through the right arm, and then hug the knee into the chest and turn. Same thing here. You might wrap the arm around the front of the knee, or if you wish to go a little bit deeper in that twist, you'll take your elbow to the outside of the knee. Remember to keep reaching through the leg that's straight on the mat and turn the chest. And then as we unfurl this one, we'll extend the legs long, both legs flush on the mat, and then bring the feet together and the knees wide. Now, this is cobbler's pose, but I want you to take your feet a little bit further away from you than you would normally, so you get a bit more of a diamond shape on the inside. You can prop yourself up from behind, to lift the chest and support the forward fold. A lot of people like to hold their feet, but I want you this time to round forward. So think about the crown of the head coming down to the mat. Rounding in the spine, letting the back of the neck be long. And in fact, if you can imagine somebody had their hands on your waist and we're sort of scooping you back, that's what we're going for. Stay here for a couple more breaths. See what happens. And then bring yourself back up to the top. All right, make your way back into any seated position you like. To finish, instead of Shavasana, which you can also add on at the end, we will do a Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing. And the idea is, in order to reinforce this calm practice, one of the things we can do is consciously shift to which nostril we breathe through. And I don't have the science behind this, but for some of you, this will be something you enjoy and it will be calming. And I do find when I do this before a Shavasana, my Shavasana tends to drop in quicker. So I offer that to you, but again, everybody is different. You're going to use your thumb and your ring finger to control which nostril you block. And teachers never tell me which part of my nose to block. So really it's the bulbous part. Just press against it. Just enough that the air is not going through that one, not so hard that anything else is going on. And then when you change sides, you're using your ring finger, you'll be pressing the ring finger against the bulbous part of the nose. Now the trick is to always exhale first through the nostril, then inhale, then change sides. The exhaling first just makes it all go smoother. So first of all, bring your hand to your nose. I use my right hand. And breathe normally, because the presence of the hand there will be interference enough. And then when you are ready, we'll inhale, close with your thumb, exhale, inhale, release your thumb, close with your ring finger, exhale, inhale, release the ring finger, close with the thumb, exhale, inhale, change sides, exhale, inhale, change, exhale, inhale, change, exhale, inhale. Now continue at your own pace. You will have a rhythm that suits you much better than my rhythm suits you. So keep going with me. Always lead with an exhale. So it's exhale, inhale, and change. And then release the hand down to the side, resume normal breath. Flutter the eyelids open, palms together in front of the chest. Thank you so much for doing that with me. It is always such a pleasure to share these practices, to share these different ideas. And for you, this is part of your exploration of which things calm you for which situations. Is it looking inwards? Is it looking outwards? How much does breath work help me? How much do I just need to move my body? These are all things that you're learning and dependent on different circumstances. Or is it just a nice way to start the day?